In late January, a fierce winter storm named Fern swept across the United States. Rapidly intensifying, it grew into a massive system stretching more than 2,000 miles, affecting 34 states from New Mexico to Maine. Approximately 230 million people were directly or indirectly impacted by the storm.
That is straight sleep.
Heavy snowfall blanketed large areas of the Northeast and the Ohio River Valley. In at least 17 states, snow accumulation reached 1 foot or more. Record snowfall totals were observed in New Mexico, where more than 31 inches of wet snow fell near Lake Bonito, and in western Pennsylvania, where snow depth exceeded 20 inches.
It's snowing a lot.
The storm also brought extremely dangerous conditions to much of the southern United States, where residents are generally more accustomed to hurricanes than to blizzards. These regions were largely unprepared for such an event. Snow removal equipment is scarce, and many residents lack sufficiently warm clothing. Wet snow and freezing rain coated roads, trees, and power lines with ice layers up to 1 inch thick. Eyewitness photographs showed entire neighborhoods with downed power lines, collapsed utility poles, and broken tree branches lying directly across roadways. The governor of Mississippi stated that this was the most severe ice storm the state had experienced since 1994. To combat icy conditions, authorities used a record amount of de-icing chemicals for the first time, along with large quantities of salt and sand to treat roads.
This motherfucking freeway. Shit, you niggas through. Shit, whoever got caught me early.
The consequences were catastrophic. At the height of the storm, more than 1 million customers nationwide were left without electricity. Widespread power outages were reported in Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Kentucky, Georgia, West Virginia, and Alabama. At least 21 states declared a state of emergency. In New Jersey, restrictions were imposed on commercial vehicle traffic. Exceptions were made for food, fuel, and medical transport, as well as for utility services, emergency responders, and personnel responsible for critical infrastructure.
Bagyo. Meron dyang bagyo. Dito sa amin ito ang bagyo.
Air travel was hit especially hard. Across the country, more than 11,600 flights were canceled, and over 16,000 flights were delayed. Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport in Northern Virginia and LaGuardia Airport in New York were effectively shut down. At Bangor International Airport in Maine, a private aircraft carrying 8 passengers crashed during takeoff. In some cities, residents simultaneously lost electricity, drinking water, and heating. At the same time, extreme cold spread across much of the United States. Sub-zero Fahrenheit temperatures engulfed the plains, the Midwest, and the Northeast, while record-breaking cold reached as far south as Texas and the lower Mississippi River region. Wind chill values dropped to between -20 and -30 degrees Fahrenheit, while actual temperatures were 10 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit below seasonal averages. Eyewitnesses described those days as a true test of endurance. Residents of Memphis and Nashville reported sleeping in a single room, wearing hats and jackets, conserving phone battery power, and running their cars only for a few minutes at a time to warm up. In Mississippi, hundreds of people spent the night stranded in their vehicles on ice-covered highways, waiting for roads to be cleared. In northern states, residents said that snow and wind literally erased the boundary between the road and the shoulder, making navigation impossible.
Oh Lord, keep everyone safe.
Human losses became the most tragic outcome of the storm. More than 100 people across the country lost their lives, with roughly half of the deaths occurring in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Many died from hypothermia, including inside their own homes, where indoor temperatures dropped nearly to outdoor levels. Others were killed after slipping on ice, in fatal traffic accidents, or from heart attacks while shoveling snow. One of the most devastating incidents occurred in Texas, where 3 young brothers fell through the ice on a frozen pond. Dozens of children and adults were hospitalized with carbon monoxide poisoning after attempting to heat their homes using generators and heaters in unsafe ways. According to AccuWeather estimates, the storm caused economic losses of up to $115 billion, making it the most costly extreme weather event since the devastating wildfires in the Los Angeles area in January 2025. In Canada, the same winter storm brought anomalously heavy snowfall and extremely low temperatures, triggering transportation paralysis, power outages, and widespread closures of schools and universities. On January 25th, Toronto Pearson International Airport recorded approximately 18 inches of snowfall, setting a daily record. As a result, more than 600 flights were canceled or delayed. According to Environment and Climate Change Canada, the total snowfall accumulated in the city over the month reached approximately 35 inches, the highest monthly total since records began in 1937. Typically, a thaw follows heavy snowfall, but this time temperatures remained extremely low, further worsening the situation. The Canadian Red Cross opened a temporary shelter in the Montreal suburb of Côte-Saint-Luc after thousands of residents were left without electricity during the severe cold. In parts of the province of Saskatchewan, wind chill temperatures felt as low as -56 degrees Fahrenheit. On the island of Newfoundland, frazzle ice, a mixture of ice crystals and water, blocked the water intake at the region's largest hydroelectric power station, forcing a complete shutdown for the first time since 1967. Divers were deployed for cleanup and, despite the freezing water, used air compressors to remove the ice. It has long been clear to all reasonable people that there is no hope that such cataclysms will simply stop on their own. Without targeted action, their frequency and destructive power will only continue to increase. Humanity already has the ability to eliminate the influence of one fundamental factor that not only amplifies natural disasters, but also threatens life on the planet itself. This factor is microplastics and nanoplastics. Finding a way to neutralize their electrostatic charge is, today, our only real chance to slow the escalation of these extreme processes. More details on this issue, as well as on what can be done right now, are available in the video Nanoplastics: Threat to Life Alatra documentary. Every day of inaction means lost opportunities and lost human lives. That is why, now more than ever, the choice, the truth, and the actions of each individual truly matter.